Was Nero truly mad? Or did he have a logical motive for the burning of Rome? The traditional narrative casts Nero as an insane tyrant watching Rome burn for pleasure. Yet deeper logic suggests a purposeful destruction aimed at Rome's oppressive administrative machinery. Nero inherited an empire strangled by bureaucracy, taxation, and meticulous record-keeping. Seeing the people's deep hatred of this administrative state, perhaps Nero recognized the bureaucracy itself as his true enemy. By burning Rome's administrative heart, the archives and records, he sought not chaos but liberation. The fire was a calculated effort to break the oppressive machinery that had alienated the people from their government. Nero set the fire not out of madness, but as a desperate attempt to free his citizens from their bureaucratic chains. Yet this act of liberation proved catastrophic. Destroying the empire's records unraveled Rome's administrative system entirely, leading directly to collapse. Today, Nero's fire offers a timeless warning about the destructive consequences of dismantling institutions without understanding their essential role in governance and society. Augustus's true genius lay not in military might, but in bureaucratic precision. Returning triumphantly to Rome, he established meticulous systems, census rolls, taxation ledgers, and administrative networks that transformed the empire into a stable, predictable order. For Romans, Augustus's bureaucracy provided peace and prosperity, replacing republican freedom with security. But beneath this administrative brilliance hid deep vulnerability. Over time, these precise records, intended to unify and sustain Rome, grew oppressive. Bureaucracy, initially a source of stability, quietly fostered resentment and distrust among the populace. Augustus's achievement, much like mid-20th century America's prosperity and suburban expansion, concealed an inherent fragility, the potential for bureaucratic control to become oppressive, eventually undermining the very order it sought to preserve. Under Tiberius, Augustus's carefully constructed administration turned sinister. Government agencies, originally designed for stability, became instruments of surveillance and repression. Informants, secret trials, and anonymous denunciations transformed Rome's bureaucracy into a shadowy force feared by citizens and senators alike. Tiberius thus created Rome's first deep state, an administrative apparatus viewed by the public as secretive, unaccountable, and dangerous. This profound distrust permanently altered the citizens' relationship with their government. Modern parallels are clear, as citizens today similarly fear hidden bureaucratic powers that seem to operate beyond accountability. Caligula followed Tiberius's oppressive secrecy with flamboyant wastefulness. Rome's administrative functions, grain supplies, public works, civic celebrations, became spectacles of extravagant contempt. Caligula squandered vast wealth publicly, mocking the needs of the populace and reducing vital government functions to absurdity. Citizens grew bitterly resentful, perceiving public welfare as corrupt, wasteful, and exploitative. Caligula turned state generosity into humiliation, triggering lasting disdain for what Romans saw as their own taxes wasted on frivolous spectacle. This mirrors modern criticisms of welfare states, where public services can easily be seen as extravagant drains on resources, breeding similar resentment and distrust. Attempting to restore order after Caligula's chaos, Claudius intensified administrative complexity, creating endless new offices and decrees. Instead of clarity, his reforms produced bureaucratic paralysis. Rome's administration became so entangled and redundant that citizens could no longer navigate or trust it. This overwhelming complexity caused administrative dysfunction, corruption, and alienation. Rome's bureaucracy, initially efficient and precise, became a confusing and oppressive burden. Modern societies reflect this pattern when citizens perceive government bureaucracy as burdensome, opaque, and inefficient, leading to widespread alienation and frustration. Together, Tiberius with his fearful secrecy, Caligula with his extravagant dysfunction, and Claudius with his bureaucratic confusion, created a fatal triad of mistrust. Their combined failures deeply alienated Roman citizens, destroying trust in government institutions. Each emperor intensified public resentment, reinforcing cycles of suspicion, contempt, and frustration. Rome's citizens grew increasingly estranged, primed for collapse. This triad warns modern societies of how bureaucratic secrecy, wastefulness, and complexity can combine disastrously, eroding institutional legitimacy and social cohesion until citizens abandon faith entirely in their governments. By Nero's reign, Rome's administrative state was openly despised. Citizens saw archives and bureaucratic records as oppressive instruments of control rather than guardians of stability. Taxes, grain supplies, and judicial oversight became universally hated as tools of coercion rather than public service. This mass resentment transformed into a powerful desire not merely to reform the state, but to see it destroyed. Popular hatred of bureaucracy intensified until the entire Roman population felt strangled by administrative records and enforcement. Such hatred provides modern parallels, as contemporary anti-government sentiments similarly transform bureaucratic oversight into symbols of oppression. When Rome burned, citizens celebrated the destruction of hated bureaucratic records as liberation. When Rome burned, citizens celebrated the destruction of hated bureaucratic records as liberation. Tax offices, judicial archives, and government registries vanished overnight, severing Rome's administrative chains. Initially, citizens felt freed from oppressive bureaucracy, imagining a simpler, ungoverned life without institutional oversight. But this freedom proved illusory. The burning of records, while initially cathartic, undermined Rome's entire administrative structure. Modern parallels occur when citizens celebrate dismantling bureaucratic systems without fully understanding their essential role in societal functionality, risking unforeseen collapse. The initial celebration soon turned into grim reality. Without administrative records, Rome could no longer function. Taxes went uncollected, soldiers unpaid, judicial processes collapsed. Economic chaos, violence, and starvation rapidly spread. The citizens' hatred of bureaucracy ironically caused the total breakdown of essential services. This practical collapse exposed a harsh truth. Bureaucracy, though resented, was critical for societal order. Its loss meant losing property rights, security, and even basic survival. Modern societies experiencing similar administrative breakdowns confront the same stark lesson. Without bureaucratic order, society itself begins to unravel. Facing collapse, Romans desperately needed someone to blame. Nero scapegoated Christians, an already marginalized group, religious outsiders, immigrants, and economically vulnerable. Public fury shifted from Rome's administrative failures onto easily targeted outsiders, triggering brutal persecution designed to re-establish control through fear rather than governance. Modern societies similarly respond to internal breakdown by blaming marginalized groups, redirecting anger away from structural failures toward convenient scapegoats. This tragic pattern repeats itself whenever societal collapse breeds collective insecurity and the search for easy targets to blame. Nero's burning of Rome, therefore, was neither insane nor merely malicious. Rather, it was a calculated gamble. Nero aimed to regain popular support by destroying hated bureaucratic obligations. He hoped citizens would see him as liberating rather than oppressive, reviving loyalty by removing administrative chains. Yet Nero miscalculated profoundly. Citizens celebrated briefly, then withdrew their compliance entirely. Nero's empire became hollow, lacking taxes, loyalty, and basic governance. His desperate act, rational in intent, proved catastrophic in outcome. Nero's gambit stands as a critical historical lesson. Societies risk collapse when rulers and citizens destroy the administrative structures they depend upon, misunderstanding their importance until it is too late. Rome fell not because Nero was mad, but because its fundamental structures of governance had become unbearable to its people, who failed to realize how deeply their lives depended upon them.